So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, welcome back with me Adam. So today I'm going to talk about my article review for my course extensive reading. And today I want to review 10 articles. So without any further, let's get to the list. Well, the first article is moderating role of teachers' academic support between student satisfaction with online learning and academic motivation in undergraduate students during COVID-19 by Sabila Naseer and Shamim Rafique. So the purpose of this article is to provide support to educational administrators, policymakers, course designers, and curriculum developers to organize curriculum and formulate systems to identify that student need different support optimally in a digital learning environment. And the result of this article is the importance of teachers' academic support and student satisfaction with their online learning was explored in the current time when the whole education system has altered into online and teacher support has become very critical in suddenly adaptive educational setup. The study contribute to the previous literature by highlighting significant role of teachers, academic support between student satisfaction with their learning experiences and their level of motivation in academic activities. And the findings of this article is writing should not be seen as an activity to produce a product by neglecting the process to reach the goals. Rather, it should be seen as a recursive process encompassing a piece of written text for a certain objective, reader, and language use. Furthermore, the use of portfolio assessment in this essay writing can be considered as a good strategy to make students become more independent learners and self-confident since they become more aware of their own strengths and weaknesses. So now we move to the next article. The second article entitled is, the title of the second article is The Effect of Portfolio Assessment of Iranian EFL Learners, Autonomy and Writing Skills by Abbas Biglari, Siros Izadpanah, and Ehsan Namaziandost. Well, the purpose of this article is to enhance learners' thinking skill and autonomy as the two communicative and pedagogical elements in language learning. Various approaches are presented to provide the learner with an environment in which they can practice and learn the language and experience different contexts. The result of this article is portfolio assessment has a positive effect to Iranian EFL learner autonomy and writing skill on both upper intermediate and advanced level significantly, but this method was more effective for advanced group. The implication is that portfolio assessment can improve writing ability and can be considered as a motivating strategy. And the main findings in this article is writing should not be seen as an activity to produce a product by neglecting the process to reach the goals. Rather, it should be seen as a recursive process encompassing a piece of written text for a certain subject, for a certain objective, reader, and language use. Furthermore, the use of portfolio assessment in this essay writing can be considered as a good strategy to make students become more independent learners and self-confident since they become more aware of their own strength and weakness. Now, the third article is student improve in reading comprehension by learning how to teach reading strategies, an evidence-based approach for teacher education by Helvi Koch and Nadine Sporer. So the purpose of this article of this research was to see if participants will gain from the innovation in terms of enhancing their own reading abilities. And the result is several data suggest that instructor reading habits, engagement, and competency are connected to those of their pupils. The assumption is that only someone with a certain talent, in this case reading related to skills, can teach it to others. This concept is based on research findings that show that a teacher's individual competencies predict students' learning outcomes. And the findings of this result is in this article, is as a result of this two-step intervention, the majority of students reported subjectively valuable learning experiences as well as a practically applicable discoveries with aha moments about their professional growth as a teacher. This study stressed the relevance of individual good experiences with an approach that students should have before teaching it in normal classroom settings of their own strength and weakness. Now we move to the fourth article entitled Social Media Pedagogy, Applying an Interdisciplinary Approach to Teach Multimodal Critical Digital Literacy by Saman Talib. The purpose of this research is to extend the conceptualization and application of digital media literacy through the inclusion of a critical multimodal and interdisciplinary pedagogical or ID approach. The result of this research is the activities carried out a popular exercise in the author's undergraduate digital media exam lives the approach, simplicity, and a great effect. Students are required to find and list the day's popular Twitter topics. The list often included social, political, entertainment, and novelty issues. Each student is assigned one of the hot subjects and is instructed to research the posting link with the hashtag. The students the student studies this posting critically to determine who is publishing them, why they are being shared, and what effect current social or cultural views may have on the tweets. This analysis is shared with the class along with a hashtag produced by the student. And main findings of this research is the distinction in modalities provided by various media, including physical, sensory, spati spatiotemporal, space and time, and semiotic. If we neglect the context of a communication, we risk missing important concepts of ideology, processing, and manufacturing. States that by knowing a communication context, we may begin to decipher how the message was generated, the author's opinions and prejudice, the influence of the distribution medium, and the underlying semiotics of the source of information utilize the construct of the message. Now, the fifth article entitled Qualitative Research, Deductive and Inductive Approaches to Data Analysis by Theophilus Azungah. Well, the purpose of this research is to explain why the qualitative approach was chosen to research human research practice such as recruitment and selection, training and development, performance management, rewards management, employees communication and participation, diversity management, and work-life balance using deductive and inductive data analysis techniques. And the result of the research is the producer involved in thematic and the law of English intelligent growth by merging the needs of multimedia English education in order to increase students' overall communication, language, and logic abilities. And the main findings in this research is by using this survey method, teachers can find the existing problem in English writing teaching, mainly for the lack of understanding of students' basic situation in the teaching process and the single teaching method. And then the eighth article is Spoken Language Identification Using Deep Learning by Gundap Singh, Sahil Sharma, Vijay Kumar, Manjit Kaur, Muhammad Bas, and Mehdi Masud. The purpose of this research was to detect languages out of English, such as French, Spanish, and German, Estonian, Tamil, Mandarin, Turkish, Chinese, Arabic, Hindi, Indonesian, Portuguese, Japanese, Latin, Dutch, Portuguese, Pashto, Romanian, Korean, Russian, Swedish, Tamil, Thai, and Urdu. An experiment was conducted on audio files using the Kaggle dataset named Spoken Language Identification. These audio files are comprised of utterance, each of. And the result is for image classification in identifying languages from generated from audio, powerful performance can be achieved using relatively short files with minimum pre-processing. Pre-trained model by Keras, that is word embedding, it is a little bit faster and more accurate than naive. This approach achieved an accuracy of 95%. And the findings of this article is the performance of log-mail spectrograms can be additionally refined by removing the noise from audio. There is a possibility for improvement by data augmentation on the available data using different methods like pitch shifting, crop, rotate, flip, adding random noise, and hanging audio speed and various methods. This help in making neural networks more robust to modification that might be present in real-world scenarios. Next, the title of this article is a study on the relationship between English reading comprehension and English vocabulary by Yuhan Ma and Wen Yinglin. The purpose of this research is to investigate the overall and relative contribution of four subcomponents of vocabulary knowledge to reading comprehension. The four vocabulary subcomponents were vocabulary size, word association, knowledge, collocation, knowledge, and morphological knowledge. The result of this research is the present study could guide English language instructor and teaching material designer toward pedagogically sound practice with respect to vocabulary learning and reading comprehension. And the findings of this research is overall contribution of the four vocabulary subcomponents to reading comprehension when the effects of motivation and self-efficiency have been controlled, there was still statistically significant relationship, 20% of the explain variance between the four subcomponents and reading comprehension. And now we move to the last article entitled Qualitative Research Sharing Method of Online Teaching Resources of Spoken English based on Deep Learning by Wei Chai and Yan Peng. Well, the purpose of this research is to analyze the sharing methods of online teaching resources of spoken English in combination with deep learning methods and construct a corresponding intelligent teaching resource sharing system. And the result of this research is many colleges do not have their own internal learning oriented spoken English teaching resource sharing system, and the management of spoken English teaching resources is chaotic. Even if there is a database of spoken English teaching resources, it is only a classified management of spoken English teaching resources. In practice, it has not been effectively used. Teachers and students have not really been involved. The communication between teachers and spoken English teaching is insufficient, and the connection between teachers and students is not strong. And the findings of this research is the author's major findings, experimental research results show that the sharing method of online teaching resources of spoken English based on deep learning has a good resource sharing effect. And that's all from me. If you have any question, feel free to ask, and see you on the next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.